Hello everyone, this is Venkata Ramana, Professor of Automobile Engineering Department, VNR VJEC. Today, we are going to discuss the manufacturing processes of different automotive components. Especially, we will concentrate today manufacturing of auto piston, piston pin, and piston ring. So these are the different components in the engine of an automobile. So the most important part is auto piston, and the next one is piston pin, piston ring. So today we are going to discuss how these parts are going to be manufactured. Let us start with auto piston. So in general, you may be aware that there are different manufacturing processes are available. In general, you might have studied in your previous courses like manufacturing technologies or production technology, etc. One of the manufacturing process is casting. So the casting can be used for manufacturing of a piston. So there are different casting methods are there. Out of that, we can use two different methods for manufacturing of piston, that is automobile piston. The first method is gravity die casting, and the second one is permanent mold casting. So you can see the picture here. So here this is gravity die casting process. So there are two molds are there, first half and second half, and here the mold cavity you can able to see here. And when we close these two molds, you will get a complete mold, and then here with the help of this ladle, the molten metal can be poured inside the mold cavity and give some time for solidification, and after solidification you can extract the component, and this is the final casted piston part. So this is the way we can use the casting process to manufacture the automobile piston. So mostly used material for manufacturing of piston is cast iron. So these are the sequence of steps we will follow in preparation of our manufacturing of piston. The first one is we have to inspect the incoming material, that is how the raw material condition is, and how is there any impurities or any other foreign particles are there. So those we need to remove, and then after preparing the raw material, then we need to prepare the die or mold. So to prepare the mold, first we need to inspect and we need to prepare the sand, and then we have to prepare mold using sand, and then we have to go for sand blasting to remove the loose particles and impurities, and then we need to go for knockout. After that, we need to prepare the molten material using any furnace process. Then we need to pour the molten metal into the die or mold, and then allow it for some time for solidification. Then we need to go for fettling process. After felting, then we need to go for inspection. After inspection, if the component is okay, then we need to go for finishing processes like machining process, and then we need to go for cleaning. And once the cleaning is over, then we can go for assembly, then dispatch, packing, final inspection, and testing. So these are the sequence of processes involved in making of piston. And there are other methods are also there along with the casting, and the next method is forging process. So the forging is one of the best method to manufacture the automobile piston. Why? Because it will give the good strength to the piston component. So in this process, first we need to heat the metal. So mostly we use aluminum, and that we call as a billet, and then we have to place it in the mold of the forging. So then after placing, we have to press it, so that after pressing or after applying the forces, we will get the shape of the piston. So this method will give the stronger and more durable than casting. So that means the pistons which are manufactured with the forging process will give more durable and more stronger than the casting process. So this is a second method, and these are the sequence of steps involved in making of piston using forging process. So again the same, first one is we have to inspect the incoming material, and then we have to prepare the die for forging, die heating, and placing of the blank on the die, apply the pressure, remove the piston from the die, that is your component, and then we have to inspect the manufactured component or manufactured piston. After that, we need to go for secondary manufacturing process like finishing, and then go for cleaning, and then if the everything is okay, then we can go for assembly of the piston with other parts, and then we can go for dispatch, packing, final inspection, and testing. So these are the sequence of steps involved in manufacturing of piston using forging process. So this is a second method. The third method is most precise and costliest process, that is using powder metallurgy process. So here initially we have to take it fine powder of materials, and then we have to mix it to get the required composition, and then we need to go for blending. After blending, we need to compact in a die using different tools. After compacting, we need to go for sintering, and after sintering, you are going to get the final product. So this is the way, or these are the steps involved in making of the piston using powder metallurgy process. So these are the in detailed diagram or the view of automobile piston after manufacturing. But so these are the small elements. So these elements we cannot get directly using any of the manufacturing process just discussed earlier. So these minor elements we need to get it using machining process. And then coming to the second part, that is piston pin. So piston pin is another part of the piston assembly. So this is very important, and the piston pin we use it for assembly of the piston with connecting rod. So here again we will follow the different manufacturing processes. The first one is machining, as usual. Okay, so we will take the solid rods, and from the solid steel rods we will do the drilling, and after drilling we go for boring if required, and then we go for finishing process, that is cut the workpiece material, and then we go for machining process to get the precise shape of piston pin. And the second process is again powder metallurgy process. So here the process sequence is same. So as we discussed earlier in the case of manufacturing of the piston, so first we need to take the fine particles of powder, and then we have to mix it properly. After mixing, we need to go for blending, and after blending we need to go for compacting using molding, and then sintering process. After sintering, we are going to get the piston pin. So as usual, and there is another manufacturing process for piston pin is forging method. So in the forging method, we take the steel billets and they are heated and placed on the forging die, and after applying the forces we'll get the precise component like this, that is a piston pin. So there are three different methods mostly we follow. One is machining directly from the steel rods, and the second one is powder metallurgy process, and the third one is forging method. And the next component is piston ring. So the piston rings, it plays a very, very important role to avoid the leakages of gases during the combustion process. So the first method of manufacturing the piston ring, you can see here the piston ring shape. The piston rings can be manufactured using casting process, but here we have to select the different method, that is centrifugal casting. So this is, you can see here, this is a centrifugal casting equipment. So we pour the molten metal into the equipment, and due to the centrifugal forces the material is pushed towards the wall, so that we'll get this axisymmetric jobs, and depending upon the time we will get the different thicknesses. Okay, so the process looks like this. The molten metal is poured into the rotating mold and which produces the hollow components. So the piston ring is a hollow component and produces with high strength rings with a uniform material distribution. So this is a mostly used method, that is centrifugal casting. And the next method is powder metallurgy. So already we have discussed for the piston as well as piston rods. So here also the same sequence of process we need to follow. One is powder making, and this then mixing of the powder to get the required composition, and then we need to go for blending. After blending, compacting. After compacting, then we need to go for sintering, and then after sintering we are going to get the required component. So this is the second method, and the last method is machining from the hollow bars. So that means we will take the hollow cylinders, and from the hollow cylinders we cut the hollow cylinder into different or defined thickness, so that we'll get the piston ring. That's what you can see here. This is a hollow cylinder, and that is placed on the mandrel, and using turning operation, that is spotting of operation, we are cutting into small piston rings. That's what you can see here. So mostly used material for making of the piston rings are cast iron, bronze, aluminium or aluminium bronze, phosphorus bronze, steel and stainless steels. So here we have discussed the different manufacturing processes for auto piston, piston pin and piston ring. So this is slide shows the comparison between all these processes, and which one is more effective and more cost effective and more strong, we can see here. So this is the first one is we have discussed the piston, and the piston when compared with the among the casting, forging, powder metallurgy and machining, the most important or most strongest process is forging process. That means using forging process we can get the strong piston, so that we can use it for longer time. Whereas powder metallurgy process will get the precise but very cost, and using casting process will get the less cost, that is cost effective, but when compared with the forged piston, we will not get more stronger piston. And coming to the piston ring, the powder metallurgy process will get the high precision component, whereas the machining will get a very accurate component or accurate piston ring, whereas using casting process we will get the durable, and forging process very less commonly we use it. So here the best process to get the piston ring is powder metallurgy process, even though it is little cost, but high precision and more durable also. And coming to the last part, that is piston pin. And out of 4 different methods, the strongest process is forging process, and the next one is powder metallurgy, and the next one is machining process, and very less we use casting, because mostly we will not use it because we are not going to get required accuracy. So this is a comparison of different manufacturing process which are involved to make or manufacture auto piston, piston pin and piston ring. Okay, so to review today's class, that is the important points from the today's class are: forging provides high strength, making it ideal for high performance application, whereas casting is cost effective, widely used, but it may have porosity defects. Coming to the powder metallurgy, offers high precision, wear resistance, though it is expensive. And coming ultimately, the selecting the right method is essential to ensure the engine durability, efficiency and longevity. That means depending upon the other parameters like cost, precision, cost, we have to select any one of the method. So that's all for today's class, that is the manufacturing of auto piston, piston pin and piston ring. Thank you.
Like, share, comment and subscribe VNR Digital Learning Resource YouTube channel.